Today we're going to be playing some Georgia in Ranked. I've been playing DDs a lot in Ranked, and that really is down to their ability to carry and win games. Ranked, of course, all about winning games, but you can do it in a Battleship as well, the goal being to have the most amount of battle impact early on you possibly can. So Georgia, with its speed boost, is going to do pretty well at that. That's something battleships struggle with a little bit, is getting into the fight early on and getting an early pick or flanking or getting some sort of creative angle to support your team and try and take out the enemies early on. And that's why Georgia's going to be pretty good. The speed boost is going to allow it to do some really nice things. Unfortunately, the guns are not the most reliable, at least in my experience. They can work when they do hit. Boy, do they hit really hard. 457mm guns, a lot of overmatch, big alpha damage as well. And the dispersion table is supposed to be pretty decent here, but in my experience, it's not always the most consistent thing in the world. So in this match, we are going to the A cap first. We spawned on this side where it's not like the Mogador where we're so fast that we kind of just pick whatever side works best for us on a given map, and then we go there. Georgia, we do want to split up a little more evenly. Maybe get a creative angle on a cruiser in the middle of the map, for example. This Santander here, flat broadside, and that's looking okay. Yes, that is looking okay. I know I just said Georgia is not the most consistent battleship for me, but it can definitely do that. Getting out to the flank early like this does provide a very, very tangible threat to the enemy team. Notice our Freddy and Alaska pushing down the C cap pretty early. This one is also a carrier game, so that's going to give us a little bit of early spotting. No DDs in this one, interestingly enough. But it does mean we don't want to just sit still here in front of this Georgia and Pommern, and what is going to be another Pommern as well, or Ruprecht, sorry, is coming to this side. We don't really do great tanking for all that long, thanks to our superstructure. It's just gigantic. So we're going to just duck in behind this island here, take some cover real quick, and try and approach the enemy team from a different angle, try and surprise them or engage a different target that's a little more advantageous to us. That's certainly something you want to be looking for, even in a battleship. Of course, when I was playing Mogador, that was the whole idea. Take a quick early engagement, try and pick a destroyer or flank very quickly and get some good spotting and damage in, maybe take some caps early on, that kind of thing. And then use our great speed to maneuver around the map and surprise someone somewhere else. That was kind of the whole idea here. And we can try and do that with Georgia as well. This Pommern here is going to be a great opportunity for us to kill, and we got a lot of teammates here to help us out with that. So we may as well go for it. This also is a great way to limit the number of people shooting at us at once. We're trying to take the best engagements for us possible. We don't want to be taking fair fights if we can help it. And this is going to be a good one. We're angled away, kiting early on, which is pretty good here. We probably could be bow in, honestly, but better to play it a little bit safe here, I think. The game is mostly in hand, but we do want to guarantee it at this point. And this Pommern, we're going to wait for him to turn out just a little bit more, show a little bit more of that broadside, and hope to get some decent damage in. Turning out here is also a great idea because the carrier is around. When you're stuck bow in, it kind of limits the angles you can take, the maneuverability you can have against a carrier. And in this case, we're going to force the enemy CV to drop us stern on here. And that's pretty much the best angle we could take here, given that he's got torpedo bombers. We're still going to take 2 of them, but it does mean it's a little more difficult for him to get multiple drops as well as land all 3 of those torpedoes. Pommern does go down, our speed boost is back up, and now we get to turn back in. Battleships are often about focusing down a specific high priority target early on. If you're going to be engaging other battleships in the ranked game mode as a battleship, you're probably going to be in a longer stalled out fight. That is unless, of course, an enemy battleship makes a mistake and pushes in a little bit too far. But you're going to notice anytime I'm playing a battleship in ranked, I'm pretty much always going to be shooting at a destroyer if it's spotted, and after that going to be cruisers, and especially the radar cruisers. I'm always going to try and take those shots because I think that's going to give my team the best chance of winning. They're the high impact targets. Destroyers are going to get cap zones that can stay in stealth, keep you spotted, torp you. They can do a lot of damage to your team without even dealing the damage themselves. They're just a very, very valuable target that you have to take out early. Radar cruisers are pretty similar in that they're going to take out your friendly DDs, so you want to take them off the board as quickly as you possibly can. And that's often what Ranked is about. And specifically, since you can't control who your teammates are or what they're doing, it's really good to take out those high priority or dangerous targets early on. That way your teammates have a little easier time. They won't throw quite as easily if you take the radar cruiser out, or if you help them deal with the enemy destroyer early on. Those kinds of things are really, really good to be thinking about. It's not just about what you're going to do the most damage to as a battleship. It's about what's going to help your teammates stay alive and continue to help you win the ranked game. Because that's what it's about at the end of the day, right? We want to rank up. We want to gain those extra stars. And of course, it's not always going to go your way. You're not always going to win every single ranked game. And that's where playing through ranked is often about patience. You're going to have great games, and you're going to have some not so good ones. But if you're patient enough and you can play the game enough times, you will slowly rank up. And that's a great way to gain certain resources. If you're not in a clan, it can be a good way to gain some steel. If you're looking at some of these steel ships that I'm playing every once in a while, things like Borgone, Stalingrad, Ragnar, ships like that, you'll slowly rank up and gain some of that steel through this game mode. And battleships can work just as well as radar cruisers and destroyers. But for the most part, radar cruisers and DDs, of course, will have a little more battle impact and a little more control over the outcome of a match. As for the build here on Georgia, it's a little bit different. We're not giving ourselves any extra healing. In Ranked, I don't think it lasts long enough, most games, to actually get to 5 heals. In random battles, it's a little bit more debatable whether you want to take Emergency Repair Expert or the extra concealment. The extra healing can definitely come in handy there, but even with the improved reload on the heal, I just don't see it being all that useful in ranked battles. We do want manual secondaries and the range that helps us deal with some gunboat DDs, things like Mogador. You don't really want to be gunboating a Georgia or a Ruprecht or a Pommern or anything inside their secondary range. That chip damage is just not worth it. So as a battleship player, we definitely want to be adding that to our toolkit here in Ranked to deal with some of those DDs or help deal with some of those destroyers. AR is always good, fire prevention kind of a must in this case, as well as concealment, very nice, with the extra speed allowing us to get into some very nice positions early on. Georgia doesn't have a hydro, so as a pseudo-brawler secondary battleship, it's a little difficult. Things like Freddy and Ruprecht, of course, get a hydro, and that helps them a lot in Ranked, where you can be rushed by DDs, you can be torped by DDs, especially if you're pushing in. So Vigilance is going to help us out a lot. Brisk or Grease the Gears are both very, very good options as well. Then I'm going to take Gunfeeder. Every once in a while, I do want to switch over to the HE to try and deal with some of those DDs, especially at close range if they're rushing me. The build looks a little something like this, definitely going for accuracy. It can help. It certainly does make a big difference, this 11% over reload mod, for example. Just not always going to be the most consistent. We definitely hit that Santander pretty hard in this one, and that's what we want. We want that early battle impact like that. Concealment Expert is very nice here. Steering gears or propulsion, I think, are both very, very good, helping your maneuverability. That's what Georgia is very good at. Secondary battery mod here, since we don't have any sort of accuracy on our main guns here, and the rest aren't the most useful. You could argue for main battery mod 2 here, since the turrets are pretty slow, but again, we want those secondaries to help us against some of those strong gunboat DDs. If you have it, engine boost mod is pretty useful, but it's not necessary to purchase that. It is useful, though, considering the engine boost is helpful for that early positioning and even just survivability mid-game. Georgia, again, is a ship that is not available for purchase normally, so unfortunately, it's not the easiest ship to get, but I do believe there's a Black Friday version of this ship, so if you're going to wait for Black Friday to come around, it might be offered again, and that would be a good opportunity to get that one. Massachusetts and Alaska as well would also be available there. And that's a much better spot to spend money on the game if you're looking for a ship than some of these ships like the Colorful event. Black Friday traditionally has been a pretty decent opportunity for that. But again, I do think if you're going to spend money, I really, really do strongly value premium time as the best thing you can get. But that's going to be the Georgia. In Ranked, worked out pretty well. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you don't have a Georgia and you're wondering what you could play otherwise, definitely get yourself a Ruprecht. It's pretty quick, very stealthy, and can do similar things. Maybe even be a little more aggressive, and works very well in Tier 9 ranked as well. A lot of fun too. Random battles, a little harder for those battle cruisers, but ranked, they are absolutely amazing. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.